Hello, my name is Sarah, and I am your chakra coach. On this podcast, we'll be exploring how the chakra system can help guide you to grow your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness, leading you closer to your highest self. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I think it's so nice that you come back week after week, and I really appreciate it. And I definitely appreciate the messages of encouragement I've been getting lately. You are the best. It's so funny. We can get caught up in encouraging and supporting others, and then we forget how great it is to be on the receiving end of that until it happens. So, thanks. It was great. I'm really inspired by all the work y'all are doing on yourselves. It's really cool to hear about the changes you're making in your lives, but also how some of you are learning not to make changes and truly just love yourself. I think that's maybe even harder for some of us. So let's say it again, all together. I never have to change for anyone. I am perfectly whole, valuable, and human exactly the way I am. That can be our motto for the week. Today, we're talking about breathing, breathwork, pranayama. A while back, I did a big series on the yamas and niyamas, the ethical principles of yoga, specifically the Ashtanga Yoga system, the 8 limbs of yoga. The yamas and niyamas are considered the first 2 limbs of yoga, and there are 5 of each of those. As I'm saying it, I think it sounds more complicated than it actually is, so just stay with me. We frequently think of yoga as being the physical postures or the exercise class that we go to. And that's part of it, to be sure, but it's really just 1/8 of the practice of yoga. And it's called asana or seat, the 3rd limb of this ancient yoga system for physical, mental, and spiritual well being. Now, since this is a podcast, showing you postures is a little difficult. So I'm going to put photos and videos of yoga poses for the chakras on the Patreon page. So you can always check them out there. So skipping the 3rd limb, we'll move to the 4th limb, which is pranayama. Prana translates to life force, breath, and yama is restraint or control or mastery. So pranayama is breath control. Breath control. Breathing is really cool. And and maybe that sounds silly, but it really is. There are a lot of functions that our body and brain just take care of without us having to think about it. Heartbeats, digestion, metabolism, and breathing, to name a few. And mostly we don't pay attention and they just go on keeping us alive. In fact, we don't have really much control over our digestion or any of those autonomic functions. Breathing is different, though. Our brain and nervous system will keep us breathing, speeding it up or slowing down our respiratory rate as needed. But we can also regulate this on our own with conscious control. And when we can do that, it affects all of our other systems, including heart rate and hormone release and processing and even our metabolism, which is pretty incredible. Thus, why I say breathing is really cool. And pranayama is a collection of techniques that increase the quantity and quality of life force in your body, creating not just those physical changes, but also emotional and mental changes. Proper breathing techniques can reduce anxiety, regulate a frayed nervous system, help reduce symptoms of depression, give you more energy, or calm you if you're agitated. In short, breathing is pretty much a superpower. And you already know how to do it. I figure if we're going to breathe anyway, we might as well know how to use it for our best quality of life. So let's also talk for a minute about how pranayama affects our chakras, our energy centers along our main channel. As you probably know, we have 7 chakras, 7 energetic centers that lie along the spine. Technically, though, they're not on the spine. They're located along the nadis, which are pathways in the body that energy flows through. When the chakras are blocked or imbalanced, your energy, your life force, your prana doesn't flow freely. It's obstructed, and that can cause fear, worry, tension, anger, grief, depression, anxiety. And that's not to say that there aren't also worldly and physical causes for these emotions, just that we can get stuck in them when we don't want to be, when our chakras are closing off the free flow of energy through the nadis. When the channels are clear, when the chakras are balanced, when our breath flows freely, we experience calm, peace, contentment, clarity, and focus. And most of the techniques are fairly simple and make a big difference right away. In my advanced chakra manifesting course, I have video instructions on a pranayama technique for each chakra, but that's a little more in depth than we're going to cover today. Today, I want to offer you some really simple techniques that you can incorporate into your life right away. I mean, even just as you're listening now, if you can find a quiet place to sit, great. But you can do these when you're doing chores, driving, whatever. Again, if you're going to be breathing anyway, which you are, might as well work on a little mastery of it and change your energetic and physical state. A couple of things before we get started. Breathing is obviously pretty safe. However, when we first start to intentionally change the breath, especially if you've never done this type of work before, it can have uncomfortable effects for some people. You might feel lightheaded or winded, like you're gasping for air. If that happens, just stop the exercise and maybe lie down. For a very few people, deep breathing can trigger some types of migraines. If that's you, please don't do these techniques. And for everyone, it's best if you can work through this breath with a straight spine, either seated or lying down. That creates the best opportunity for the breath to clear out the nadis. You can do this standing, but I'll tell you, I remember so clearly the first time I did one of these techniques standing, and I'd never gotten so much oxygen in my lungs and in my brain. I got dizzy and I thought I was going to pass out. I didn't. My teacher just suggested that I sit down, and the feeling passed almost immediately. But that first breath changed my life. It changed my relationship to my own lungs and breath. And that's why I want to share it with you. The first type of breath we'll work on is the foundational yogic breath. Foundational. This is what people outside of energy work would just call a deep breath. But for us, it's more than just that. This is the breath that we really should be using all the time, not just when we're thinking about it or when we're practicing asana or pranayama. We don't, but it's our basic baseline breath. This is a fantastic one to practice lying down because it's really easy to connect to the physical sensation of the diaphragm and belly when we do. But use whatever position works for you right now. Place one or both hands on your low belly, below your rib cage. Try to intentionally release any gripping or holding in your shoulders, chest, or belly. Breathe in through your nose, an easy breath in, and try to feel the low belly expand and lift under your hand. Easy exhale through your nose, allowing the belly to lower. Simple, right? But almost all the time, we're breathing into our upper chest, not the base of our torso, and that creates tension and anxiety. Deeper breathing creates calm and relaxation. As you try a few more or practice on your own, there are a few things you can do to enhance the pranayama practice. Try smoothing out the inhalation and exhalation, meaning that you draw air in and release it at a relatively steady pace, rather than sucking in a bunch of air all at once and then struggling to breathe in more. Likewise, release your breath smoothly. You don't need to think slowly if that doesn't help you, just without letting all the air out in a rush. When it feels smooth to you, you can lengthen the breath, meaning that you simply take a little longer to breathe in and a little longer to breathe out. If you like a visual, you can imagine the breath expanding the energy in your lowest three chakras: root, sacral, and solar plexus, the space from the bottom of your pelvis to the bottom of your rib cage. Keep it simple, keep it deep. Research shows us that this type of breath reduces the sensations of stress, can increase sustainable energy levels, lowers blood pressure, and can reduce pain by increasing the flow of oxygen. Research also shows us that it takes about 6 of these breaths to get these benefits. For me, I feel like it takes 3 or 4 each time to get the feel of it. Then I can do 6 really quality yogic breaths. So maybe we can think of taking 10 of these. You can do it anytime. And while it would be great if we could remember to do them when we're under pressure, I wonder if it isn't better to do them before we get into those stressful situations so that we're better able to handle the moment. In the moment, it's easy to forget and let our bodies move into tension. Honestly, just mastering this one type of breath control can change your life. If you want to try something a little more complicated or advanced, I'll take you through Durga Pranayama, the 3-part breath or complete breath. This is a breath that you might use in a slow to moderately paced yoga posture class, and it is calming and relaxing. It takes a little more focus, especially at first, but it's very safe for beginners and has immediate effect on the body and energy channels. Again, it's nice to start by relaxing your body a little, but don't worry if that seems too difficult. Just like its name indicates, this breath has 3 parts. Each one is a different place where the breath is directed during the inhale and exhale. As you breathe in, send the breath to the low belly, just like in the yogic breath. This time, though, as you continue to inhale, allow the breath to then fill up the rib cage, expanding it right, left, front, and back. Then the breath continues to fill the torso into the upper chest and low throat. Then, without holding the breath, allow the exhale to happen in the reverse direction, air exiting the low throat, the rib cage, and the low belly. If you want to, you can place a hand on each of the 3 parts as you breathe into them, sort of walking your hands up your body. This is particularly effective if you're able to lay down and practice. Try a few. Try a few just to see how it feels. Inhale, low belly, rib cage, upper chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, low belly. Again, inhale, low belly, ribs, upper chest and low throat. Exhale, low throat, upper chest, rib cage, and belly. This breath is said to strengthen the lungs and the diaphragm, as well as the entire respiratory system. The focus on the complete, full breath brings awareness to the present moment really nicely. And that's a method that we know enhances a sense of calm and well being. If you're feeling ungrounded or kind of all over the place, this is a nice pranayama practice to spend 5 minutes or so on to bring yourself back into your body and connect to it. All right, Durga Pranayama, the 3-part breath, the complete breath. The last piece of breath work I want to talk about today is Samavritti Pranayama, or equal breath. It's a little more advanced, and if you have high blood pressure, lung or heart problems, or anything with your eyes and ears, this isn't a recommended practice because it involves breath retention. If you're concerned at all, just skip it. Just skip it and use the previous 2 pranayama practices. Samavritti means even or equal mind fluctuations, and the primary purpose of this technique is to quiet the chatter in your mind. Many people use this to prepare for a meditative practice, especially if they feel like they can't meditate because their thoughts feel never ending. It's also a very calming practice and brings a lot of mental focus. Again, if at any point you feel uncomfortable, just stop and breathe in a normal pattern for you. This pranayama technique uses preset breathing counts. You might have also heard it called a box breath. A relatively easy place to start is with counts of 4. The breath is gentle, never forced. Inhale for 4 counts. Gently hold the breath at the top for 4 and exhale for 4. Then hold the exhaled breath at the bottom for 4 counts. It should feel like you've simply stopped the breath, not that you've changed anything or tensed anything to hold it. Let's try one together. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Gently hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Gently hold. 2, 3, 4. Let it go. Let it go. So that's a basic Samavritti pranayama. Let's try one more. One more together just for fun. All right? I'll slow it down a little bit. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Shake it out a little bit. If you're brand new to this, try just a few rounds. Honestly just 2 or 3 to begin with, and then let it go with a cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. If a 4 count seems too long, make it shorter. The point isn't how long the counts are, just that they're all equal to one another. You can also take out the breath retention the breath holds and just work on equalizing the length of the inhale and exhale. Experiment with these pranayama practices and see how they affect you. Pranayama is traditionally practiced first thing in the morning or at sunset, but feel free to try them at other times too when you need some relaxation, stress relief, or grounding. Remember that this is yoga, not just the postures. This breath work is yoga too. So on days when your body needs rest, when it needs a break, you can substitute this work for your regular asana practice if you have one. I'm going to put some videos of me going through these practices on the Patreon page. So if you feel like a visual might help you, check them out there. I can also put these instructions up on Instagram or Facebook if you think that would be helpful. So follow your chakra coach there and let me know if you'd like me to do that. Pranayama, the 4th limb of yoga, and truly a superpower that you carry with you everywhere you go, and you already know how to do it. I'm just offering some ideas on how to make the breath support how you want to feel. There are also breath practices to feel energized. There are warming breaths, cooling breaths, all kinds of techniques that you can get into if you really want to explore pranayama. It's one of the most spiritual practices for me, so I hope you try it and that you enjoy it as much as I do. Message me on social media to let me know or email me. That's Sarah at yourchakracoach.com or leave me a voicemail. You know the drill. The link is in the show notes. I'll put links to everything in the show notes: Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Let me hear from you. So until next time, take a deep breath or 10, and I'll see you soon. Bye.